push through that fear to talk to somebody. And now it's kind of, it can be like the easy way out.
It's instant gratification,
I'm scared.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm scared to talk to the girl, or I'm scared to talk to the guy. Well, hey, if he matches with me, I know if at least he's interested or whatever. And so then that takes off some of it. But the truth is it really doesn't.
This just adds to what Adam was talking about earlier with our erosion of what I call distress tolerance. Like, right? Like, I don't want to tolerate any distress. I want to filter everything through a sieve before it gets to me, so that I'm safe, right? And it's like we're all looking for perfection and safety, even with COVID, right?
With unrealistic expectations of people.
When are the restrictions gonna get relaxed by our overlords? Nobody's even asked. Nobody's asked. And actually expected a response, right? We talk about it, but it's like, what is the expectation? Zero risk? Because that's kind of what it's starting to feel like. And I'm really concerned that's kind of our unconscious expectation about everything now. It's like zero risk. I'm not going to date you unless I go through 7,000 profiles and I'm 100% certain that you're going to be my wife.
zero risk, full reward, right? Is the
there you go. Yeah.
I mean, like, so I work in finance, right? One of the most common questions is,
what's your risk level?
Well, or we talk about, I don't ever ask that specific question, but I get a gauge of how emotionally connected people are to volatility through just a series of exploring things. But
I'm going to steal that phrase, by the way. How emotionally connected are you to volatility? That's a really good phrase, because I teach emotional functioning. That's a great. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it's like, well, upside volatility or downside. No one feels bad with upside, but we all love the upside. It's like, and not only how much do you feel the downside, but
mania is great till it wrecks your life.
How much do you understand? How much do you understand what your true downside potential is? Most people have, zero tools in the belt to figure that out in a variety of aspects of life. But so you were talking. Oh, so anyway, so the risk thing. Ask, well, what do you want? And everyone's like, oh, well, I want to make $1 million and I never want to lose any money. Or I want to make 100% return and not ever see it.
You can do that?
Yeah, of course.
You can do that for us.
Yeah, always.
That's what I heard. I heard Adam can make you $1 million without losing anything, or even staking any.
Nice.
So, yeah, so that's the zero risk, full reward. And one of the things of like relationships is that you have to work through them, because the moment another person walks into the room, there will be differences.
Oh, please say that again for the people in the back.
So the moment someone walks into the room, there will be differences.
No, before that, there was so many that I just got out of this relationship, and then they would blame you for things early on in the conversation. Please work through your trauma.
Oh, that
part.
Yeah.
Please work through it.
It's so one of the things that, like, you were talking about, that distress tolerance is like, we don't like it. It doesn't feel good. Mm-hmm. And society has sent a message that you should just be happy. It's like, no, not necessarily. Like, is it fun? Or, life should be fun and that's what makes it happy. It's like, well, life should also be meaningful and rewarding. And those aren't necessarily fun and happy. Like, I climb mountains in some pretty brutal conditions on a regular basis. And it is not fun to put one leg in front of the next. Like, it can be excruciatingly painful. But when I reach that summit, it is meaningful. It is purposeful. There's a sense of accomplishment that ultimately does feel good, and it is rewarding, but it's not fun and it's not happy. It's neither of those things. And if you don't know how to push through and overcome obstacles, life's going to be pretty catastrophic potentially for you. And these dating apps combined with all those messages create that in everybody. So one of the things is, like, you were talking about, like, the anxiety of going to a bar and having to talk to someone and push through that. And some people don't. So myself, for example, I'm an introvert by nature. Probably like a high reactive introvert, but an introvert. And so growing up, I always have been baby faced. I've looked young. I've been small. And so, the girls that I liked in, my junior year of high school wanted nothing to do with me. The freshmen thought I was cute, or the eighth graders, but I wasn't about to date an eighth grader in high school. And so, cause I just looked young, and that didn't start to yield rewards until about my junior year of college.
Yep. As the same way.
Yeah, and then it's been great ever since. But that's when it began. Well, I was scared to go up to a girl and talk to a girl, especially not being the jock athlete that drew the attention or the whatever. And so like I developed a sense of humor and I developed other things. And at the end of the day, like I wanted to meet a girl and fall in love and get married and have babies and the whole thing. And so I was like, well, how am I going to do that? Well, I'm not going to do it by walking up to a girl because that's not going to work for me.
That's not how you have babies.
I can make myself desirable. I can make myself to be desirable, and maybe the girls will ask me out. Maybe they'll approach me and make it easy on me to figure out this thing that I haven't figured out. So I learned how to play guitar and sing and got on stage.
And make them $1 million.
Yeah, yeah, that too. And so like I learned how to, in a sea of people, be the one that stood out so that I didn't have to be in the rat race. But still it was, well, you're dating one person or talking to one person, or courting or pursuing one person. And you're still pursuing the qualities of an individual, and it's not a numbers game. But in the dating app world, it's a free market. It is a supermarket of people, and it quantifies them, dehumanizes them. And what I've noticed in myself and in others is the moment you meet resistance in the connection, even the smallest amount, the instinct is to go, you know what? I've got 6 or 7 other connections that I can go pursue. I don't have to deal with this.
Okay.
On any level. Like, oh, you were late? I don't have to deal with people who are late. I'm going to go talk to another cute girl I matched with.
So another part of that, though.
I like my dog. I'm going to go match with another girl. And because it's an open market, it's a seemingly bottomless supply of people who are showing up and wanting to go through it, that it's like, well, why do I need to put up with you or push through and establish a connection and like really get some roots that can take hold when I can just be off to the next one? And it's
but
really...
here's a twist though for the woman aspect of this, because even though, like I said, we get a lot more options, like because there's a lot coming through, there's a different twist, because it's like, oh well, I can't say this or I can't place this boundary because then he's going to ghost me and he's not going to talk to me anymore. And so there's that aspect too. And so I very, very much encourage, and not just women, but men too, is to know what you're going into, knowing what you're wanting so that you can establish those boundaries. If you are not comfortable talking about sex in the first 2 sentences, which a lot of people are not, then state it. If they don't like you, then they are not the right person for you. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm glad you brought that up, the boundary thing, because... Go ahead and finish. Sorry, I just cut you off.
I'm used to it, Jake.
I don't do that. You need better boundaries. Listen to Adam. He doesn't shut up. You try to interrupt him, and he just talks right over the top of you.
I know. Yeah, what's up,
Dealing
Adam?
with it for 20 years.
Adam. No, but the boundary thing is really, really important, and just to stick by it no matter what, because you know what? If they are not going to respect your boundaries in the beginning, when they do not know you, in the honeymoon stage, where that's where people are at their best, do you know what's going to happen later on if you start dating them?
Right.
It's going to get worse and it's going to intensify. Trust yourself. If you physically feel in your body uncomfortable, there's a reason why you need to place a boundary somewhere. Figure out what that boundary is. And
to Adam's point earlier about the screw off if you don't like, my attitude pre-announcement. All I heard was, oh, that sounds like ineffective boundary setting. It's boundaries, but it's just not well received. It lands poorly on people, right? Mm-hmm. So... And it also speaks to yield theory. I'm glad you brought up walking through anger from our friend and yours, Dr. Christian Conti, where you see through the outward behaviors of a person and into the soul on the inside. But it's really impossible to do if everybody's advertisement is, I'm prickly, right? Mm-hmm. Like we purposely don't touch cactuses, even though they have nutrients and value to them in some cases, because they're prickly. I don't know how we delineate, between prickly, don't touch, versus, oh, that's a healthy boundary. I respect that. That's probably somebody I want to pursue.
Presentation.
It could be a presentation. Sure, you make...
And intuition.
So let me ask this, because I want to be mindful of time. I want to make this uplifting, because it feels like we've spent a lot of time analyzing the woes, right? And maybe categorically it's just hey, resist the temptation to go the easy route. Don't do app dating. Go put yourself out there and really make a concerted effort. I don't know, but what advice do we give people? We're trying to push this around Valentine's Day, in the U.S. and it's traditionally the romantic holiday. And if people aren't in relationships, then they call it Black Valentine's Day or what. I don't even know what they call it, but it can be really hard, right? Because you got this constant bombardment and reminder of like how lonely you are. So we don't want to turn people off, but how do we tell them to use it effectively if they're going to use it, or do they even need to use it? Angel, go first.
Okay, so I met my boyfriend on an app.
He met his girlfriend on an app.
See, there we go. It's not that it's all negative. It's just to be realistic about what's going on. I want to say just stay curious. Just stay curious about getting to know people. And then if you click, cool, have fun. Just, stop putting all these expectations on somebody that you don't know. Just get to know them. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. I was on them for years. And there were a lot of people that, it just did not work. And it didn't even get to the point of meeting in person. Or maybe it did. And which is fine. Doesn't mean that they aren't great people. It just means that, they weren't the right fit for me. And then that provides the opportunity for me to meet somebody that is right for me and for them to meet somebody that's right for them.
So you're pushing a bad position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, you became single, I'm assuming, because, it didn't work and you didn't have, a great relationship prior, which is fine. Why push yourself or force yourself into another one? Yeah. Wait for somebody who is right for you that you do enjoy spending time with, and just stay curious and have fun. If the worst thing that happens is that you guys go out and do something and you have a good time, but you don't click, okay, you had a good day.
Right.
All right, cool.
What do you think, Adam?
So I think going into it with that mindset of being okay with things not working out or not going the way you want them to go is good. One of my sort of like cynical jokes that I or realizations that I came up with, as a result of, failing in my marriage and then failing with certain dating, just kind of having the challenges of the dating app. I was like, one of the tragic comedies of life is that it is largely a series of failed romances.
Yeah.
For almost everyone. Yeah. And that includes people who are married. It doesn't mean that their romance hasn't failed.
Or is it a pattern of self-discovery?
Yeah. So,
well, I think people hear failure and think bad, but failure can be very, very rewarding if you use it properly. So I don't want to judge the word.
Yeah. So I think, I'd say, one of the valuable utilities of the dating app platform is that if you go into it without overloading expectations, learn to not take too much away from the negatives, such as being ghosted or being mistreated or whatever it might be, or not connecting with people the way you think, and using each of those situations as an opportunity to discover things about yourself and others, to learn what they're looking for, what that spectrum is, what you like, don't like, uncover how you about yourself, what you uncover about others, how you respond in certain situations. Like that's one of the most valuable things I've taken away from the last year and a half or two of dating, is that I've done a fair amount of it, and I've learned something valuable from every single experience, even if it was nothing more than going out for a cider or a beer or whatever it might be. I've taken something away from it where I've been able to look inside and go, oh, well, that's interesting.
I just took away that Adam led with cider. Hello, would you like to join me for a cider later?
Well, lots of women are gluten-free these days, so.
That is really funny. So what I'm hearing is this theme of humble curiosity throughout, right? Humble curiosity.
About yourself, too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. Which, you're on the dating app for yourself. Yeah. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I want company. And if you separate the I want company from all the other benefits that you guys just illuminated, I think you'll end up being a lot happier And I'm hearing a lot of non-attachment too. Mm-hmm. Being not attached to expectations, not attached to